The Rebel Alliance primarily structured its officer corps using the Alderaanian standard, ensuring a unified command across its varied forces. At the junior level, lieutenants, like a young Luke Skywalker or Wedge Antilles, typically commanded platoons of around 36 troops. The rank of captain was notably flexible. It could denote command of a starship, like Raymus Antilles, or a formal rank leading a company of roughly 144 soldiers, as with intelligence officer Cassian Andor. Majors, such as Bren Derlin of Hoth fame, often served as executive or operations officers for battalions of about 576 troops. Commanders took on larger operational roles, leading squadrons or key base operations. Luke Skywalker held this rank during the Battle of Hoth. Senior field command fell to colonels, responsible for regiments of over 2,000 troops or starfighter wings. Finally, at the apex were the flag officers. Generals like Jan Dodonna, Carlist Rieekan, Han Solo, and Lando Calrissian, and admirals like Gial Ackbar and Raddus, who formed the Alliance High Command, making strategic decisions and leading critical missions across the galaxy. Supporting the officer corps was a dedicated enlisted structure, the backbone of rebel ground operations. The foundational rank was the trooper, with experienced individuals becoming senior troopers, often leading small fire teams. A corporal typically served as second in command of a 9-trooper squad, the senior-most trooper within that unit. Squads themselves were led by a sergeant. At the top of the enlisted hierarchy within a unit stood the sergeant major, the most senior non-commissioned officer, bringing vital experience and leadership. These squads and fire teams formed the platoons, companies, and battalions commanded by the lieutenants, captains, and majors of the Alliance, creating a cohesive, if often resource-strapped, fighting force on countless worlds. The Rebel Alliance's combined service model meant rank structures varied across its specialized branches. The Navy maintained a traditional hierarchy from admiral down to deckman, including ensigns and petty officers. Spec Force, the Special Operations Arm, had its own progression from general to trooper, with enlisted personnel often needing a higher contribution rating signifying advanced training. Most unique was Starfighter Command. Its pilots were exclusively officers, with ranks from general down to flight cadet, while enlisted personnel served as vital ground crew and technicians. This flexibility, even leading to some apparent rank inconsistencies, like Ezra Bridger's commander title or Harrison Duller's rise from captain to general, reflected the Alliance's pragmatic need to quickly integrate diverse talents and assign command based on competence, not just strict protocol, a key to their adaptive fighting style. Rebel Alliance insignia, unlike the Empire's rigid uniformity, varied significantly, reflecting their diverse origins and operational needs. Alderaanian officer plaques featured blue and red dots, where blue often denoted seniority and dot patterns, rather than sheer number, distinguished rank. On Hoth, personnel wore colored grid shoulder patches of unknown meaning and comlink squares on their chests, red and gray for NCOs, red and blue for officers, possibly a binary code system. Pilots had distinct sleeve patches, sometimes rumored to be safe passage documents, and carried mysterious shoulder cylinders. By the Battle of Endor, insignia shifted again to dull, less decipherable plaques. This evolution wasn't just logistical. The non-uniformity and potential obscurity likely served a strategic purpose for a clandestine organization, making it harder for Imperial intelligence to map their command structure. At the apex of the Rebel Alliance stood its civilian government, the ultimate political and strategic authority. Mon Mothma, a co-founder, served as Chancellor and Commander-in-Chief, responsible for overall military strategy, industrial mobilization, diplomacy, and even arbitrating disputes between allied factions. Her centralized leadership was vital. She was supported by the Alliance Council, featuring key figures like Bail Organa, also an early spymaster, and composed of representatives from the most committed allied governments, which advised and held oversight. A dedicated Alliance cabinet managed crucial functions. A Minister of Finance raised funds through taxes and war bonds. A Minister of State handled external relations. Ministers of Industry and Education oversaw production and propaganda, respectively, while civil intelligence focused on internal security and monitoring imperial broadcasts. Crucially, the rebel military operated under this civilian leadership, ensuring strategic cohesion for the stateless resistance. Commander-in-Chief Mon Mothma directly oversaw 7 supreme allied commanders, each heading a critical military branch. Fleet Command, Under the legendary Mon Calamari, Admiral Gial Ackbar managed the Alliance's vital capital ships. Starfighter Command, led by tactician General Jan Dodonna, handled pilot training and starfighter deployment. General Rowan Vernon directed intelligence, a vast network of spies crucial for asymmetric warfare. Crucial to the rebellion's fight was its intelligence service, co-founded by Bail Organa and Ahsoka Tano, who adopted the codename Fulcrum. This network coordinated scattered rebel cells and gathered vital Imperial intel. Fulcrum became a call sign for key spy masters, later famously used by Imperial defector Agent Kallus. Under leaders like General Aaron Kraken and General David Straven, Alliance intelligence ran spies, monitored Imperial communications, and enabled covert operations. Operatives like Captain Cassian Andor undertook high-stakes missions, while specialized Pathfinder units performed critical infiltrations. Intelligence was the lifeblood that allowed the outnumbered Alliance to anticipate threats and strike with precision. The Rebel Alliance initially grew from many scattered, independent rebel cells, like Phoenix Cell, Hera Syndulla's Lothal Rebels, or Saw Gerrera's Partisans. Mon Mothma's declaration of rebellion in 2BBY formally united these disparate groups. However, for security and flexibility, the Alliance maintained a decentralized cellular structure. Communication often flowed through intermediaries like Fulcrum agents to protect the wider network. Regional sector commands, such as General Dodonna's overseeing the Yavin 4 base, coordinated these cells and reported to Alliance High Command. This structure allowed for local autonomy and rapid decision-making, as seen with General Rieekan during the Hoth evacuation, while still enabling the Alliance to mass its forces for critical campaigns like the Battle of Endor, forming a resilient and adaptive insurgency. Rebel Alliance strategic planning was a masterclass in adaptive insurgency. While Alliance High Command, led by Mon Mothma and the Council, set overarching goals, a key strength was its allowance for decentralized execution. Often, crucial decisions were made from the ground up. If frontline intelligence revealed a vital opportunity, individual units or leaders could vote with their feet, acting decisively even if Central Command initially hesitated. The fleet joining the unsanctioned Battle of Scarif is a prime example. This flexible approach, prioritizing real-time information and field initiative over rigid top-down orders, gave the rebellion the agility to stay hidden, manage scarce resources through hit-and-run tactics, and make calculated sacrifices for strategic gain, constantly outmaneuvering the monolithic empire. One of the most celebrated and tragic chapters in rebel intelligence came from the Bothan Spynet. During the Endor briefing, Mon Mothma solemnly remarked, "Many Bothans died to bring us this information." She was referring to the intelligence these Bothan operatives collected on the location of the second Death Star, critical details that cost lives to acquire. Though the exact number was never confirmed, one legend source notes that at least a dozen Bothans perished in the operation. Their sacrifice underscores the silent toll of intelligence work and the quiet heroes behind every victory. According to Rogue One, the ultimate visual guide, the Rebel officer rank system, from lieutenant up through captain, major, commander, colonel, and general, derives from Alderaanian military tradition. These ranks are visually represented using colored rank plaques, red pips for army officers, blue for navy, and uniquely, green for intelligence officers. For example, Captain Cassian Andor wears a green pip plaque, marking his intelligence affiliation. This Alderaanian-based system created cohesion among rebel forces, ensuring clarity in command even as disparate factions came together under one banner. Rebel tactical execution was defined by fighting smarter. Their doctrine of asymmetric warfare emphasized hit-and-run raids and surgical strikes, primarily using hyperspace-capable starfighters launched from carrier groups to counter the Empire's big, powerful ships. Intelligence was paramount. A staggering 70% of starfighter sorties were reconnaissance, finding targets for these precision attacks. Specialized Pathfinder units, trained for infiltration and operating indefinitely without resupply, undertook mission-critical operations. While briefings provided clear objectives, as seen before the Death Star run, the Alliance fostered a culture of initiative. When plans inevitably went awry, individuals like Luke Skywalker were empowered to adapt and improvise, a flexibility crucial for outmaneuvering the Empire's rigid tactics.